In this video, I'll show you how to terminate employment contract. A termination document registers in the system the end of the employment for a specific employee. The document provides information on final paycheck amount and how this amount is calculated. The document includes the details of the work days in the last pay period, unused vacation, unpaid loans, and accrued end of service benefit amount. To access the termination document, go to HR and Payroll module, open termination document from HR documents. Click on Create option to create a new document. On the main tab, you can enter general information about the employee termination. Please note, if the employee holds multiple positions with the employer, you will need to create an employment termination document for each position the employment quits or is fired or laid off. In the employee field, select the employee whose employment is terminated. In the entity field, select the legal entity of your company whose employee terminates the employment. In the department field, select the department where the employee works. In the contract field, select the type of contract. It can be limited term contract or unlimited term contract. Based on the actual contract set in the system, it should be added. In the termination type, specify why the employment was terminated. Select one of the following reasons. Select dismissal if employee was fired or by end of the contract or by any other reason. Resignation should be selected if the employee quits voluntarily. End of contract if the employee contract has expired. In the termination date, select the date after the last day of the employee work. In the reason field, briefly explain why the employment was terminated. If the employee is entitled to receive the end of service benefit, select Calculate End of Service Benefit option. Use the comment field to provide any relevant information for this employment termination. Once the main tab is filled, move on to the End of Service Benefit tab. This tab provides information on the end of service benefit amount accrued for the employee that depends on the length of employment and the type of contract. For more about end of service benefit, kindly refer the video How to Record End of Service Benefit from the playlist. The accumulated end of service benefit is populated with the accrued amount of the end of service benefit if its calculation has been included as an option for the month-end closing process. The end of service total amount shows the end of service total amount to be paid to the employee calculated on the document date. This amount is calculated along with other amounts in the document once you click the calculate option on the toolbar. To correctly account for the paid benefit, the application compares the accrued amount and the calculated final pay for the benefit. If the accrued amount is greater than the final pay, then the following fields becomes available on the form, that is end of service benefit income GL account and income item. But if the accrued amount is less than the final benefit pay, for example 9,000, then the following fields become available, that is end of service benefit expense GL account an expense item. For this example, the end of service total amount will be 8,000. The business activity is populated with which the employment was associated. The Accruals and Deduction tab provides information on the accruals and deduction listed in the employment contract and the amounts calculated up to the termination date. All the amounts in the documents will be calculated once you click the Calculate button. Because the document includes the salary from the month start up to the date of termination, the employee will not be included in the payroll calculation document for this month. If needed, you can add an accruals or deduction type to the document using the Add button. The accruals or deduction type column is automatically populated with actual accruals or deductions from the employment contract and changes. If you're adding an accrual, you should select manually. Choose the date. The start date and the end date shows the days that indicate the specific period within the pay period, the number of days and hours worked during this period, and the accruals or deduction amount size at the lower line. The indicator 1, 2 and 3 column is populated with the parameters of the accruals and deduction type. Value 1, 2 and 3 column shows the amount of the corresponding indicators. The amount column shows the amount of the accruals or deductions resulting from the calculation based on the data provided by the document. The GL account and the expense item and business activity provides information that will be used for generating journal entries. The detailed document column shows the reference to the supporting documents if there is any available. Once this tab is filled, move on to the Loan tab. The Loan tab provides information only on those loans borrowed by the employee that have non-zero interest and are paid monthly. The interest amount to be paid for this last month of the work is calculated when you click Calculate on the toolbar. The amount appears as a deduction on the accruals and deduction along with the remaining unpaid amount of loan. The percentage payment amount column shows each loan the amount of interest for the last month which is calculated. The income item column shows the income items specified for each of the loans with interest. The business activity column presents the business activity to which the employees are related or with which loans are associated. Once this tab is filled, move on to the provisions tab. It provides information on the calculated last month expenses associated with the benefits granted to the employee who quits or is fired. Please note, to view the actual accrued amount, use the report balances of employee benefit provision. The provision column is populated with the actual benefit listed in the employment contract and its changes. Once all the tabs are filled, check the date and post the document. Click on transaction details for more details about the entry created. The entry will be created for the accruals and the deductions, the vacations, the end of service, and for the provision. That's how you can create the termination of the contract. Thanks for watching the video.